Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson was sued yesterday in Houston. Another plaintiff making very similar allegations to the 20-plus plaintiffs who flooded to the courthouse in early 2021, preceding the 11-game suspension. We were under the impression that that phase of the Deshaun Watson off-field situation was over, that if there was going to be any new litigation, it would be from some new incident. When I first heard about it yesterday, Devin, I thought, well, did he do something recently? The incident was October of 2020. Usually you got a 2-year window to file the lawsuit, but under Texas law for sexual assault, it's a 5-year statute of limitations, which would explain why this case is able to at least be pursued. It doesn't mean the allegations are true, but it is a lawsuit that has been filed, and Deshaun Watson now has to deal with it. And one of the big questions, what will the league do about it? Will the league view this as something that hasn't previously been addressed in the discipline of Deshaun Watson? And secondly, and I've got the Watson contract with the Browns, there's language in there that basically says as long as he disclosed these things to us, the ones he disclosed to us in writing before he was signed, those can't be held against him. If there's something he didn't disclose, if this is a case that he didn't share with them and he would get suspended, there's a way the Browns could rip up the rest of the contract and avoid the $92 million he's owed after this year. So there's some high stakes involved in what happens with this case. It's all still very early, but this is the kind of thing, and again, these are just allegations. They're very similar to the allegations made in the past, although there's a sexual assault twist on this one that is different from most of the other cases. But this is something new. We thought this was over. Watson might have thought it was over as well. Now, at some level, the league had no comment, but the league's going to have to address it. The Browns are going to have to address it, and Watson clearly is going to have to address it in court.
But for the Browns, do they need the league to do something for that part of the contract to be able to say, we're going to release you and rip it up? Does the league have to suspend him or something before that to happen?
That's a great question, and the contract is a little convoluted on this point. I tried to parse out the language last night. I think at the end of the day, he has to be suspended before the Browns could exercise, it's paragraph 42 of the contract, where they could void the future guarantees and move on from Deshaun Watson. So the league would have to suspend him. And when the league went forward back in 2022 with its in-house process that now has an independent person, Judge Sue Robinson, who heard all the evidence, the league picked a handful of cases of allegations to use in the case against Deshaun Watson. And if I'm the union, my first argument would be, that was your chance. If you knew or should have known about this other one that was just filed and you didn't go forward with it then, that was your opportunity to do it. I think the league as a threshold matter would have to show, and the union would likely fight them on this, that they didn't know and had no reason to know about the lawsuit that was just filed now. That's going to be a key. Can they even proceed? Will they proceed? And the Browns won't be able to do anything unless the league successfully proceeds and gets him suspended at least one game.
Yeah, all the legal stuff, I'll let you handle that. That's above my pay grade. But I think from my time in NFL, the interesting thing of all of these situations, guys have big contracts, and you spoke about suspension, is as a player, you should always know suspensions can void guarantees in a contract. So when you look at these things right away, you look at how's this individual been playing. And when you look at Deshaun Watson, it hasn't looked good. And you look at Sunday against the Cowboys, I was talking to my brother about this, going back over the game. You look at Cleveland's defense. You know, we were on our show Sunday night and we were like, hey, this defense hasn't looked good the last 2 outings against Houston, against that. I was wrong about this. This defense didn't play bad defense. They gave up really 2 drives. Other drives, it was like 15 yards, 13 yards, 17 yards, and that set up a field goal coming off of turnovers from the offense. The defense didn't have an opportunity, mainly because of how poorly the offense played. And this team now has been talked about a lot, since Sunday. They've thrown in other quarterbacks, Joe Flacco, Jacoby Brissett. All of these quarterbacks have really handled and performed in the offense better than Deshaun Watson has played. He's had some games in there. I've talked to Kyle Van Noy. He played against Baltimore last year where Deshaun Watson was running. He was throwing. He looked somewhat like the old Deshaun Watson. But now you look at what's going on. It's like, hey, Cleveland, are they really looking right now and saying, hey, we got to find a way to get out of this because of the way Deshaun Watson is playing?
Hey, Devin, I really can't recall with any clarity what I said during yesterday's show because of the whole sleep deprivation thing for the last week. But I'm pretty sure that when Sims and I were talking about how Deshaun Watson looked yesterday, I said the Browns would probably love to have something fall out of the sky where he could be suspended and they could get out of those guarantees, because that's how ruthless teams are. They know they made a mistake, but they can't get out of it. They owe him the balance of the $46 million this year, $46 million next year, $46 million the year after that, fully guaranteed, and the only way out is if he would get suspended and they could void the guarantees. And boom, there it was. I had no idea this was coming, and boom, there it is. It doesn't mean it's going to give them that get-out-of-jail-free card, but it's at least on the radar screen.
Yep, no, exactly. And every team has done it. So if you're outside, you might not know, but anybody who's been involved in NFL, you know teams are looking to do that to get out of bad contracts.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.